I'll call this meeting to order. And let's see, we have the minutes of July 29th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of July 29th.
And I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Okay. We have warrants for payment, warrants 4, and the payroll 4P.
I'll make a motion to approve bills for payment warrants 4 and 4P.
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Let's see, any discussion? Warrant 4 is for $16,406.23. And of that, we're paying the monthly Rescue Inc. bill, Highway Department supplies and repairs, the sheriff's monthly contract, fuel for the Highway Department, payroll transfers, and gravel and sand crushing. So any other discussion? All those in favor of these warrants?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, we're good to go then. We have no, let's see, Lee is, I think that's Lee. We don't
Yes,
have
I'm here.
other, okay. Well then, let's go to the road foreman's report. And we have bids on a flail mower. You there, Lee?
Yes, I think Terry has the 3 bids.
All right.
Yes, I do.
And will you open those?
I will be glad to open these bids.
Okay.
Okay, the first one's from Pinnacle View.
All right.
Actually, two
Oh,
from
Door
Pinnacle View.
number 1. We'll call it door number 1, Pinnacle.
Door number 1 from Pinnacle View, okay?
Okay.
All right. This is a new furry model ZLE 1800, 5-foot by 11-inch offset 3-point hitch flail slope mower with hammer knives. Is $15,580.
Okay.
Okay.
What's
This
behind
is
door number
behind
2, Terry?
oh. This is another Pinnacle View.
Another one.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna keep that one with this one. Okay, this is a, well, it says mower bid, but it's a new bush hog model BH 26 2R 16 HD 3-point hitch rotary cutter with slip cut clutch drive line with laminated tail wheel with front and rear deflector kit, 2,900.
Okay, I guess we're not.
We're not, but it does say on the envelope mower bid.
Yeah. Okay.
So we will disregard this one.
For the time
Yep.
being.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that must have been one that came in before. I'm not sure.
No, I've got the actual bush hog ones in that came in before that were actually dated. This one just came in. Well, Lori, it says mower bid on it. So I'll put it with the bush hog. And the other mower bid, number 2, is from United Ag and Turf. This is a furry ZLE 1800. Let's see. It would be, the suggested list is $16,770, but the selling price is $15,950. So the balance due on this is $15,950. So he's giving you a discount. How is it working? So how it comes to is they're giving us, they charge you $200 for setup, $170 for delivery, so there's $300. So they're giving us an $820 customer discount to bring the total to that $15,950.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I think it does.
Yep.
So to get it right, Pinnacle Views is $15,580, and United Ag and Turf is $15,950.
Does the first one, Pinnacle, include the setup and those two things that the other one includes?
It does not say. It
Yeah.
literally just gives the description of it,
Yeah.
but no setup.
Yes. Yes, they are usually, the bids are, like, all ready to go for the town. Yep.
Okay. All right, Lee, is there any particular reason you would go for the 15,950? Is there some compelling
Nope.
reason about working with that company?
Nope, I think the Pinnacle View sounds good.
Okay. All right. So we have 2 bids on a flail mower. This was something that was voted on at town meeting. What would you like to do? As in make a motion to accept one of the
I'd
bids.
make a motion that we accept the Pinnacle bid of $15,580 for the flail mower.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion?
So this is Geraldine. So Lee, do you have any concerns about purchasing it from Pinnacle View or this particular piece of equipment, or tell us, how you feel about it?
No, they're the company that I actually went to and talked with the salesperson, and so I feel comfortable with them.
Good, great. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion or questions? Okay,
And are we comfortable spending out of the capital fund without any tax revenue having come in yet?
the letter from Charlotte said there was something like 200 and some odd
Okay,
$1,000 in there.
okay.
Yeah, I'm comfortable. Thanks,
Yeah.
though, Maria. That's a good question.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion to purchase the flail mower from Pinnacle View?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
okay, so I think we all have ayes there. All right.
Yeah.
So, Lee, but we approved that purchase.
Okay,
Um,
sounds good. Thank you.
anything else? Lee?
No, I don't have anything else. Just the regular work, what was going on during the last 2 weeks, and that little bit of a night windstorm we had, but we didn't have that many problems with it.
Any questions for Lee?
Yeah, I have a question. And I'm not sure that this got to the members in soon enough to be included, but the issue is the ash tree management grants that are now available in Vermont. There are grants being made available for getting, I guess, cutting down the sick ash trees and so forth. And this information came from the Conservation Commission. Christine is offered to help put the grant proposal together if it's something that we would be interested in doing. I thought, Lee, you might have a thought on that. The individual awards range from 5,000 to 15,000 in cost sharing grants for I don't know if we, have identified all the ash trees that are problematic, but
Right. I think it changes every year, so it's when we make up the plan, it seems like trees that look healthy are dying, and then other trees that, they keep holding on. So.
Do you want to take a look at this grant, Lee, and the provisions of it, and let us know what you would like to do?
Yes, I can do that.
And if we don't act on this, David, until next session, is that okay?
Applications are due October the 30th, so we're fine. We're fine.
All right.
Do you have the information to access it, Lee? Do you want me to forward that to you? Lee, do you need me to send you the access address of the grant, or do you have that?
I think he might have,
Yeah.
we might have lost Lee.
I'll send it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you send it to Lori can probably get it to him.
Okay, will do.
Okay. All right. So that's what we'll do with that. And I guess our road foreman's report is over. So we'll move on to correspondence for information. Is there anything there you would like to discuss?
I'll just make a note on that mask on Vermont. I took care of that. So those free masks will be coming and Lori will be distributing them. So that's all taken care of.
Great. How are they going to be distributed?
Lori will put it on the website and she'll just leave some at the town office. Plus we'll have the votes coming up and the taxes due, so people will be coming in and all that. She's also gonna let Dummerston Cares know.
Ah, good. Great. Okay.
So this is Geraldine. Hold on, Zeke. I wonder, I'd like to touch base on the town of Newfane letter, re-safety at swimming holes.
Sure.
So I understand, and I have seen that the state put the barrels along the river side, the West River side of Route 30. And, it's designated a lot of no parking. And so I wondered how that affects Dummerston. I know that this whole Indian Love Call swimming hole is problematic because it's in different towns, and there's both the state and the town that has designated responsibility for different pieces. So I just wanted to hear if anybody had something to say about the current status of the situation.
Let's see. No, I guess I don't have anything to add to that.
This is Marie.
Oh, Maria? Okay.
Yeah, I actually got 2 phone calls of people complaining that the barrels were put up, mainly because it really shifted the parking all to the west side of Route 30. And so rather than being concentrated in, on both sides of the road for a short period, a short area or a short distance, it basically just strung out the parked cars on the opposite side of the Route 30. And they felt that it was a real, safety issue, but which, I agree, it's a tough thing, but it is a state highway, and I'm not sure that as a town, unless the swimming holes are actually closed, I'm not sure it's because it's a state highway, what we can do.
Right. Well, I don't know what you said to those people, but it seems to me that the more uncomfortable we can make it, the less convenient we can make it for people to use that swimming hole, the better.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's going to take time. So I hope that we can, you know, sort of help people be a little generous about taking that time. If people are coming up from out of state and they have to walk, you know, twice as far to get there, they're likely to choose somewhere else to go the next time. So it's going to take a little time for less
Right.
people to use that swimming hole.
Yeah, what they've done
Exactly.
is they've chosen to use the other areas along the river in Dummerston, so it's creating other issues at other places.
Yeah,
Right.
like
Yeah,
at
I
the
can
covered
imagine.
bridge.
It's flat rocks, the covered bridge, they're
Yeah.
using people's personal property to park on, so it is very much shifted it down the road.
Yeah.
Right, right.
And yes,
Mm.
I got a few numerous complaints over it here the last few days too.
Same here. People concerned that the cars are now in the breakdown lane and it's pretty hazardous, but
Yeah.
what can we do?
Well, we can pass that information along to the state if we'd like, so they can consider that as well.
Right. And are we concerned that Newfane, so Newfane is the one that would close the swimming hole, is that correct?
Well, no, that's private property.
The
Yeah,
river itself?
the river itself belongs to the state.
Right.
And so I think they're trying to close access.
Access, yeah.
Right, for the parking, but there's actually association that owns the land where they're going down going down into it.
Yeah, well, where they start to walk down, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're
Right,
not
the
willing
trail.
to close that. They're
Yeah,
not willing to
no, they're
close
not.
the trail.
No.
Well, they did put please close signs up, but they all got ripped down. They let everybody know due to COVID earlier this spring that they would, please stay away this year. It didn't work.
Did not
No.
work, yeah.
This has been ongoing since March, end of March, beginning of April, Carolyn.
Oh, I know. No, I'm very
Yeah.
aware of it. I've been frustrated for years. And it seems to me that the coronavirus is like, that's that's the winning card.
No.
And yet I understand what you're saying, that it's just pushing it back, south on Route 30 at the other swimming holes, which is not great. But anyway, I don't necessarily mean to bring this up so that we could come to a conclusion, but I'm really happy to know that, or happy to be more informed that people have been getting calls. I have not personally received any calls. I think it would be good not only just to let the state know about these calls, but also the other players in this situation.
Well, then I have to say, as much traveling as I did through the weekend up through there, I did see numerous state police and sheriff's departments. So I would say they were actually monitoring it. Not that there was anything, I think it was more like the sheriff's department was going to deal with it through education wise. So
Great.
I would say they've already
Perfect.
know. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Great.
So we'll just keep monitoring the situation.
Yep.
See what
Thank
happens.
you, Zeke.
Yeah. Anything else under correspondence for information? Then moving on, we have correspondence for discussion and or action, and an email from Isha Williams regarding the Lydia Taft Library, and an idea he's throwing out that the town pay for residents to get library cards at neighboring libraries, pay the fee for out-of-town library cards. So we received that. David, do you want to, let's see.
Well, the resident was concerned that he was requesting a book from the library. and eventually they got it. He went there to pick it up, and Dina had closed the library just for a few minutes to go to check the mail. And the gentleman was upset and wanted them to deliver the book to his house, and they wouldn't do that. And I think we'd have to say that was probably an unreasonable request. There's no evidence, as far as I can see, that the library isn't doing a good job. And to purchase library cards for residents in the Brattleboro Library or other libraries seems totally unnecessary.
Yeah, this is Maria. I agree. I actually looked up what it would cost from the Brattleboro and the Putney Library for non-residents. And if we're going to offer this to one resident in town, we would have to actually budget it to assume that everyone's going to want one.
Yeah.
And I only figured it's in Putney, if you're a non-resident, it's $40 for a card. So if you figure even 900 people want it in town, you're talking $36,000. The town of Brattleboro is $62 for a year for a library card. And again, if only 900 people in town wanted it, you're talking about $55,800. And that's only, I mean, it's just, there's absolutely no way that
No.
it would be even fiscally feasible for us to try to budget. And if you're going to offer it to one resident, you can't just assume that only 10 people are going to want. It's just not even, it's just completely fiscally irresponsible of us to think that we can provide library cards for residents.
Totally.
A few years ago, I was talking with the Putney librarian and was told that there are about over 300 Dummerston residents who buy, out of town cards there. So that would be
Already, right.
$40. That's about $14,000. It's about the budget of the town library.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 300 people. So
I have a membership in the Brattleboro Library, and so,
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. This is Geraldine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just suggest that he just have a meeting with the trustees and has he had that yet? Or at least have him go talk to the trustees about these concerns.
Yeah.
So
I will pass that on to Isha.
great, good.
Yeah, and this is Geraldine. I'd like to just also say that it's really good to see articles about the library in the Views of Dummerston, and for us to, as select board, to highlight the benefits of having a local library. That's part of the education.
Yeah.
Right. Good. Yes.
Okay.
Good point, Gerald.
Great. So we ready to move on? Under new business, reappraisal update.
Oh.
So let's
Where
see.
Yeah.
What is our reappraisal update?
Where we left it last time was that the members of the select board were quite concerned about the process that was underway. That our concern was that it not being able to go in houses and prevented from by doing so by COVID would not permit a fair and equitable reevaluation. And so we had our lawyer look into it, and we have a letter to that effect with his views on that. So the question, I guess, for us is, what are we going to do in terms of, are we going to allow the reappraisal to continue? Are we going to seek a postponement of it, a tabling of it until the times allow them to go into the house? Are we going to try to renegotiate the contract? So these are the questions that
Right. So what do members think? What are your inclinations?
Well, I got the impression from the response from our attorney that I'm not sure that we can necessarily, get out of the contract. His suggestion, I thought, I'm trying to find the email again here. I thought that it was that our option might be to renegotiate the cost because they are not going, but,
Because they're not going inside houses, so
Right.
right.
they're doing less, yeah.
And and he wasn't sure. The last paragraph was, as to putting a hold on the contract, I would suggest first speaking to the state and the district advisor, which would be, I'm assuming, for the listers. And it would have to be that the state would allow a postponement or to suspend it.
Right. I don't think we're doing this because our numbers crossed the threshold where we had to do it. We're just
No,
getting
we
close.
didn't.
Yeah. So
So would we need to consult the state in that case? We're not mandated to do this.
the office that the listers are in frequent conversation with, and I have a call into them, and I haven't been able to get a call back yet. And I was just going to ask about what are other towns doing during, this past several months? What are other towns doing? I was looking for that information. So.
What do the members feel about the viability of the appraisers continuing the process without being able to go into a house and basically making an assessment on exterior and in some cases an interview? That seems to me to be a flawed process in a community like Dummerston. I mean, I think it would work perhaps in a suburban area where I understand the people that are actually doing the appraisal are from out of state, Maryland and so forth. It may work in places like that. I just don't think there's enough. I don't think there are two houses the same in Dummerston. The process seems to me to be flawed, and I don't think it should go on.
I have to agree with you. It's a flawed process doing it this way.
Maria and Carolyn, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I agree that it's a flawed process, but in reading the attorney's opinion, the contract only states that inspections of the residences will be done. It doesn't specifically say that they will go inside.
Right.
The contract doesn't state that it's sort of I totally agree. I think it's flawed, but the contract that we signed does not specifically state they will go inside. And so for us to try to get out of it is going to be quite difficult.
Although past practices, in all cases in the past, the appraisers have gone into the houses. So our expectation was, I assume, with contracting with these people, that they would be an interior inspection. So in a sense, they are in violation of the contract.
So this is Geraldine. So I did a little of my own research in between last meeting and this meeting. I talked to Steve Mandel, I talked to Jean Newell, I talked to a friend of mine who's a realtor, and got some information from the people doing the appraisal. So as I understand it, there is no state mandate that precludes the people doing the inspections, the assessment, from going in the houses. It's NEMREC's requirement. And so I agree, Zeke, that it would be really good to find out what any other towns are doing who, are doing this kind of town-wide reappraisal during COVID. I'd really like to know. But I wonder if there is the possibility of putting pressure on NEMREC to alter their requirement, because it's not a state mandate. As far as the state is concerned, they are allowed to go into the house. I mean, obviously they need to wear a mask and, you know, but my understanding is also that they don't need to take any measurements inside the house, but even if they do, they have measurement devices where they're not touching anything. So anyway, that was one of my thoughts.
The problem I see with that, Geraldine, is that even though they would agree to do that, if they were to agree, there were a lot of people during COVID are not going to let them in anyway. And so,
well, I know, and I'm one of those people, but with some education, you know, as to why it's important and the safety measures, and it just seems to me that it's you know, we would get better results than you're imagining with only exterior inspections.
I'm still not going to let them in my house. So,
well, wouldn't it be better though? Let me ask
yeah,
you.
I'm not, you know, so, and, you know, why should I let them in? Because I know that other people aren't going to let them into their houses. And so, geez, why should I take that risk? So my thought is to talk with them and see if we can put this on hold. You know, we've already paid a bunch of money. They've already done a lot of the office work. Can we just put this on hold and review it periodically in 6 months? You know, has the pandemic disappeared? And, you know, we can, you know, people are comfortable letting strangers into their house again, or in a year from now? Or do we find out that in 6 months or a year, no, this is just a new way of life, and you know, no one's going to let an appraiser in their house. And then we decide, well, okay, let's do the best we can. We know that this isn't going to change anytime soon. We'll just have to do the outside of the houses, and you know, we'll do everybody's house that way, and have a level playing field, and that's just the way it is. If we can just put it on hold, wait, and review it in 6 months or a year or whatever, some time period.
I would agree.
Yeah,
with
that's
that.
great.
I would agree with that approach.
So Zeke, that's great. I recall that Jean said that the last time our listers did the appraisal, it took them 3 years to get through the whole town. So that was one of the reasons why they chose an outside group to do it, because it was going to take a lot less time. So let's remember, though, because I have these statistics in front of me, they've already done 162 inspections.
Okay.
So if we wait, then, you know, are we going to ask them to do those 162 over again? Or will those 162 be then the starting point from when they
I guess it depends.
start up again?
Yeah, I play it by ear. If we resume this in 4 months, I'd say, oh, that's okay.
Right.
Or maybe 6 months, maybe even a year, if we're just going by the outside of the house. I don't know, but that's something we could talk about.
Right. But just to know that we're not pausing it at the beginning. We're pausing it in the, you know, it's already been going on. So just to be aware of that.
Yes, I'm sure they've already cashed our checks. So we're not.
They've been paid.
We're not
Well,
gonna
I'm not
get-
talking about money. I'm not talking about money. I'm just talking about, you know, the amount of inspections, the amount of houses that have already been looked at is 162.
Yeah, right. And we'll just have to, if they agreed to pause it, then we'd just have to evaluate when
Yep.
process resumes, whether those would need
Yeah.
to be redone or whether
Yeah.
we'd be okay with it. So,
And Maria, I will send you this information that I got from Nathan Stoddard saying how many inspections they've done, how many were interior, how many were exterior, and that, so that you can put that in the minutes.
Okay.
so
Okay.
do we want to just have a couple members approach this company, Ed, whatever his name is, or do we want to invite him to another meeting and discuss it in an open session like this?
Well, I think you want the process to be suspended as quickly as you can. You don't want to wait another 2 weeks, right?
All right, so.
Well, this is Geraldine. I would also encourage us to include the listers in this discussion. I wouldn't want to have a discussion just with Ed. I would want the listers to have the possibility of being in that conversation as well.
Right, yeah, and, yeah, probably we should let them know that this is what we're thinking.
Exactly.
Just so they're not caught off guard, so that they,
Yeah, I don't want to be at odds with, you know, people in our town that have been putting in hundreds of volunteer hours or not volunteer, I guess listers are paid, so. But anyway,
a lot
of time,
work and effort.
a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of dedicated, you know, personal time.
Well, is it the sense of the board that we want NEMREC to suspend the process along the lines that Zeke pointed out, to be reviewed in 6 or 12 months? Is that what the board is, the sense of the board is? That's my view.
That's my view.
Okay,
Yeah, I guess so. You know, I want to, you know, before I stood on firm ground with that, I would want to talk with the listers. And I agree with you, David. If we're going to do this, we should do it sooner rather than later, because every day more inspections are being done. I don't think that the process has been, you know, paused.
But when you say talk with the listers, okay, what are you saying, that you haven't made, that we haven't made a decision, and that that we're going to have?
No, well, we're not. This is the sentiment of the board. I'm fully on board with that. That this is the sentiment of the board, that we would like to pause the current assessment that's going on.
okay. Maria?
Yeah, well, I agree, but before we draw everybody back into a Zoom discussion, I think Zeke, you as chair should contact NIMRIC and see, because you have a call into to the listers district advisor, you said?
Yes, yeah. Mhm.
But so I feel like you as chair should contact NIMRIC to see contractually what we've committed to,
Okay.
and what we can suspend or not suspend.
Okay, and then I'll report back to the board.
Perfect.
And we'll go from there.
Okay.
Thank you, Maria. That's great.
Okay, I'll do that. And now, who would like to talk with the listers? Let them know that this is what we're going to be discussing with the company, with NEMRIC.
I'll do that. I was talking with both Steve and Jean, so I'll call both of them.
Okay, great. Good, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any other reappraisal thoughts or? I'll talk with Nemrick and I will send a summary around to everyone. We have Doug Morton, we interviewed earlier, would like to join the Energy Committee.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Doug Morton to the Energy Committee.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? I'm not sure he's filling empty term or part of a,
I think he's filling a term that will end in March of 2022.
great. Okay, so, well, 2022, March 3, 22. Okay. I'll let, oh, well, we have to vote first, but I'll, if we were to vote in favor of him, I'd let him know that his, if he wanted to re-up, that would be when he would do that. So,
Great.
Forgive my forgetfulness, but did we have a motion, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
and a second.
Yeah, any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of appointing Doug Morton to the Energy Committee?
Aye.
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 All right, I'll let him know the good news. Now, let's see. A budget request to the town committees and set up budget meeting. This is so we're getting ahead of our budgeting process.
Yes. So it was a year ago that I sent out an email to all the town committees requesting their budgets. So would you like me to do that again?
How quickly a year goes by, but I'd certainly like you to do that.
Okay.
And have the due date, what, and when did we do it the last time? Beginning of October, somewhere in there?
Yeah, it was early October. So
Okay.
we made it a Wednesday.
Yeah, give them pretty much September to put together a budget.
Right.
Right, and that's especially important for committees that just meet once a month. If they've already met in August, then
Yeah.
they know in September that meeting has to include that on their agenda so that they can give it to us for October. Perfect.
Right. So
Right.
so I'm just going to pick October 7th to have it come back. So
Okay,
that's
great.
a Wednesday. I don't know.
Auspicious day. That sounds good.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is Geraldine. I'm remembering that last year we had the encouragement, I don't think it was a requirement, but the encouragement that we actually meet with someone from the board. That was in your letter, that they make a date with us. Is that the same? Are we asking for that same protocol this year?
Well, that's going to be kind of difficult.
I think so too.
Well, personally, I think that we need to try to have our budget meetings in person.
I totally agree with you, and I'm gonna throw this out there. The community center is closed, except for the library, but they've offered us their meeting room in the back. I do have a key, we can use it at any time. It would be plenty big enough for all of us to sit down and do budget. I personally don't think a Zoom meeting is going to cut it with budgets this
Yeah.
year.
Great.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're good with sending out the letter. Not sure about meeting in person yet, it seems like, but requesting the budgets be submitted by October 7th. So
Yeah, I would leave that part out of the letter, Maria, about meeting with us. And let us get that information, and for the committees or the commissions that we feel we need to meet with, then we can request that they meet with us.
Great.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
And then, okay. And then last year, we also had, we kind of had set up a budget meeting in late August, if I remember correctly, just to sort of come up with a game plan. So I don't know if we want to do some type of a budget meeting this month or not.
Well, I'm a little bit concerned that we don't have the numbers down from the state.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the delay on this.
Yeah, I'd be
and
happy
how
to wait
this
till
is-
September to have our first budget meeting. But, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, I guess,
Well, the one thing is the loader is probably going to be coming in the end of August. Okay, that was just shy of 150,000, and we got 30 days, from then on to pay it. But you got to remember what we've got in the capital plan now. We just did the Flail mower, and we don't know what's going to be coming in and when the tax due. I mean, hopefully everybody pays their taxes and we refill the capital plan and the general fund, but I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns out there right now with these numbers.
Yeah, I agree.
And so what does that mean in terms of first budget meeting to you all?
Well, it would give us a chance to really look at the numbers and see where we're at and give us a guide as to if we don't get in what we'd like for what's due for us for taxes on a timely manner, how do we pay? And luckily, we've got some of these loans and stuff that aren't due till May 2nd, but, are we gonna need a line of credit? What are we gonna need? We got 20 days after we get the tax due date is when the big check's gotta go up to the state. So it's up to you guys, how you wanna look at it.
So what would you suggest, Terry?
Well, I mean, personally, I think at some point here we should meet and just get a grasp on where we're at and look ahead in case. I'm hoping everything just goes well. But in case it doesn't, at least we all have a group meeting and we can all be on the same page.
And would this meeting be on an alternate Wednesday, or would it be prior to a select board meeting?
It could be any time. I don't know what's available for everybody.
I mean, we could say our next meeting on August 26th is at the community center. Obviously, and we could have a budget work session first. Or, the next meeting is September 9th, if that's soon enough.
I mean, it's up to the board.
I think we could also still have a Zoom select board meeting. We could have an in-person. Uh-oh.
Hold on.
my computer is just about dead. So I'm just going to-
Oh, is that your computer?
Yeah. Turn the audio off on your computer.
Okay. Does that work?
Yep, that's much better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we can, I was saying that I think we can have a select board meeting via Zoom at, well, I don't know how we would do that. No, I guess we can't do that. I was just thinking, members of the public obviously can come to a work session also.
Mhm.
Anyway.
I mean, we can use the Wi-Fi down at the community center. It's up to you
Right, but
guys.
I guess what I'm thinking is if we combine a budget meeting with a select board meeting, it has to all be in person. In other words, we're going to invite people to come in person to that. I think what we need to do is continue our select board meetings via Zoom, the way we are on our typical dates. And then, and in between Wednesday, have our first budget work session in person down at the community center. And that needs to be warned and people can come, but it's not our regular select board meeting.
Okay.
Do you have a sufficient room? How many people would be able to come and still have distancing?
It's
So that-
quite a big room.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, we could have a dozen people and it would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the 12th today, so it would be the 19th of August or the 2nd of September.
Do we
Carrie,
lose
does
the-
one of those
what,
seem
do
better?
we lost Zeke completely?
No,
I think I'm still here.
Oh, okay. So Zeke, can you make it down on a off Wednesday?
Let's see. Once we hit September, it's kind of busy. I might try to call it, although I'm not doing very well right now.
No, but the point was to meet in person when we're talking about budget. So
Yeah.
Do you want to just do one on the 26th and set the tone for this so that we can
Yeah.
move ahead? Just so we got our options open depending on what's going on.
I think that makes sense.
Okay, 26, you say?
26, you want to make it later, like at 7? Would that be easier? Is
Oh, that would be great.
that okay with everybody else?
so we have a regular meeting from 6 to 7 and then a budget work session at 7?
Or is that a regular meeting? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
And it's all in person.
Or do we want to do the next? Do we want to do it do the Zoom meeting? It's up to Zeke. Zeke, can you make it down to 6 or would you want to do it the next week on the 2nd on an off week and do Zoom the 26th?
I would prefer to Zoom the 26th, and then I'd come down for the next.
September 2nd at 7 p.m. and we'll have an in-person work session.
Right.
Okay, let's
Sounds
do it
good.
that way
On the 2nd.
on the
Okay.
2nd.
Good.
Okay. And that's going to be at the community center?
Yep.
Okay.
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 Okay, so we're ready to move on. Oh, I'm muted now, for crying out loud.
No, we can hear you.
All right, good, I was hearing both the computer and it's like calling in or a radio. Okay, the Census Bureau, final boundary validation program due 8/8. Well, that bus has left the station.
Michael looked through that because Michael was the one that was dealing with that with the listers. He looked it over, everything was fine. I signed it, it's sent in, and I've got confirmation that they've got it, and it's all set.
Great. Okay, so we can cross that off our list.
Right, all done.
Okay, good. Our treasurer, Charlotte, emailed the current account status for various accounts. Everyone see that? Anyone find comfort in those figures?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, anything you want to discuss about that? Okay, something we have to do about it. Moving on, the covered bridge steps. David, you.
Yeah, so I received a call from Christine Gepp. She was concerned with the poor deteriorated quality of the steps and the fact that it could be hazardous and somebody could fall. There might be a liability. I talked with Lee. He thought that the land was owned by the state, but in fact, Lori confirmed that the land is owned by the town. So Christine, the Conservation Commission, I think they meet tomorrow. They're going to be discussing it. It's on their agenda. Is it tomorrow? And they're going to see what they can do. I think that Lee believed that the Conservation Commission was the one that looked after those steps originally, or constructed them originally. But with the town's ownership of that, my concern was, is there a liability there if we have these dangerous steps? And they are dangerous. I mean, they're very easy to slip on those steps. So that's the issue.
Okay.
We could.
What are people's thoughts about that?
So this is Geraldine. I have some thoughts about it. I'm wondering if we would at all be interested in closing that swimming hole.
And then moving out of town, or?
I mean, to me, I would like to consider, and I'm not saying that I'm on board with this, but it just helps to sort of think about an extreme action. And then maybe we'll decide something else. But those steps are dangerous right now. They were put in a time when local residents used that swimming hole, and we were really happy about it. I think Dan Snow donated his time to put some steps in. We were very grateful for that. And, it's a great swimming hole for local people. But if, given COVID and given the pressure on swimming holes, if we have the possibility of closing it during this season, I would certainly be willing to entertain that idea.
I wouldn't. I'd be opposed to that.
Well, I'll go this far. I think at this point, considering I've been watching the number of out-of-state people that are there, and I agree with her that it's up to about 95%. My question is, when you say liability, yes, they are in bad shape, so there is a liability. There is a liability even if we put new steps in there. It's like having your lawn and then you add an inflatable pool. You have upped the limit of liability. So the minute you allow steps in there, then you've upped the town's liability by having them there, where it is being a natural place to go down and somebody slips and falls. It's natural. So I would have, and any hesitation, just my personal view is to take the steps out and leave them out. Just for the liability, whether we close it or not, it's another separate issue in my mind. But liability, I don't believe we should have them there.
Yeah, this is Maria. That's exactly what I was going to say, Terry. I think regardless of the Conservation Commission, like Darylyn, you said, when it was first used, it was locals. Now, not so much. I'd be all for having the road crew go remove them as soon as possible.
Yep. And
Me
put
too.
a sign down there, enter at your own risk or whatever. If you want to put closed, but enter at your own risk. Yes.
Yeah,
I
I think
taking
the steps out would be a great first step. And then next year, if we want to, put them back in, we can, but it should just be a path down there.
yeah, I wouldn't even recommend ever putting them back in.
Okay. How
No.
do we, what sort of path, who are we going to have? We're going to ask the road crew to do this, or are we going to put it out for bid, or are we going to put just a path, or we're going to put riprap down there, or how are we going to, probably the Conservation Commission, if they did this originally, or, we're trying to reduce erosion there, which will be
But
an
it would be
issue.
natural erosion.
So you can't see
Yeah,
me raising my eyebrows at that, but.
I'm sorry, what?
May I suggest that since this is on the agenda for the Conservation Commission at their next meeting, can we wait to see what they say about this situation, and then we can deal with it at our next meeting?
Sure, I'd be able
Yeah,
to do that.
I think that they should know the sentiment of the board, though,
Sure.
in their discussion.
Yeah, and I just go back to the liability of it, and they should be removed immediately. It's only going to take one person, and it's the liability to put the town in that type of a liability, because we know they're in disrepair.
I mean,
This wasn't something that got flooded and just happened last week. This is
Do we,
this is way too much liability. I don't think we can leave it up. This is town-owned property. I just don't think we can leave it up to the Conservation Commission. Unless they want to go in and remove them. But I just think they need to come out.
what about if we consult with VLCT about the liability issue, about putting a sign up, use these stairs at your own risk, or does that let us off the hook, or until we could possibly get these removed? And just run the idea of removing the steps past VLCT also. And then we have to figure out how will we get these removed? Our next step.
What kind of steps? Are they wooden steps? Are they stone?
No, they're stone steps, and the bottom ones are the worst. So, you could take out the two bottom steps and just leave it at that, and put that sign up that says, enter at your own risk. I think that's a really good sign to put up there. And you wouldn't have to remove them all. It's really the bottom couple that are really bad.
It's true.
They're concrete or they're stone.
Again, it's something that the town, I know it was the Conservation Commission, but they're a town committee on town property that installed these, and the town, we've allowed them to deteriorate to the point where they're a liability. So if we leave the steps in place, then we're going to have to come up with some type of a maintenance program to prove that we're doing our due diligence to keep them safe.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can't do that, then they need to be removed.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So I would be happy to call someone on the Conservation Commission and, relay this discussion to them. But whose ultimate decision is it? And there's also this suggestion of calling VLCT.
Because we have the fiduciary responsibility for the town, the responsibility is ours if there's a liability issue. So it's not for the Conservation Commission to, they can make proposals, but it's the Selectboard that has the responsibility.
Yeah. So is it helpful if I agree to call the chair of the Conservation Commission?
Yes, but it doesn't, I don't know if that's going to move this along.
Mm.
Very
The
much.
question is Geraldine, do you want to call or email up VLCT and find out, should we remove them all or how, you want to worry
No,
about
I don't want to
liability?
call VLCT. I'd be glad for someone else to call VLCT. I just don't want the Conservation Commission to waste their time at a meeting tomorrow night talking about this when they don't know the sentiment of the board and the contents of our discussion. I don't want them to start walking down a road that, they don't need to walk down.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Mhm.
So that's my concern. But if someone else would call VLCT and find out a little bit more on that, I would be very pleased.
Yeah, I'll call VCX.
Great,
Okay.
great, thank you, David. And just let us know what you find out.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
And
we'll have
remind me who the chair of the Conservation Commission is, because it's not
Christine.
Mary Ellen anymore.
Christine Gepp. Christine Gepp.
Oh, she's the chair. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Okay, so once we get some information back from VLCT, we'll have some concrete information to go on a little further, or at least we'll have some more information to go on further. And we can, that might be helpful in determining whether we remove a couple steps or whether we take the whole thing out or,
Mhm.
so.
Okay.
Everyone good with that?
Yep.
Okay. Well, okay. Anything more that we want to discuss about the steps? Or
No.
do we take other action to get someone lined up to remove them so they're on call, or what do you want to do?
Well, would we ask the road crew to do it? Maybe somebody should talk to Lee about whether they could do it or not.
Yeah.
Have them look at it.
I'll call Lee.
Okay.
Well, Terry's, yeah.
Since I've already talked to him about it once.
Okay. All right. So we'll circle back to this at our next meeting, or if we get information in the meantime that can circulate among the board.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we ready for a
And
motion to, oh, sorry.
And if VLC just recommends we get a sign up there to, just let us know what the result is from talking with them.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, great. I don't think
Right,
we
I'd
need
like-
any motion on this, but,
No, but to move about the liquor license.
oh, yes, sure. Let's move
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to move that we recess as a select board and convene as the liquor control board.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, so now we're the liquor control board. There's a request from Scott Farm for us, is it a second class liquor
Yes.
license? Okay. What would you like to do?
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license for the second class liquor license for the Scott Farm.
I'll
Is
second
there
that.
a
I'll
date?
second it.
I was just looking for the date.
It's for their farm market, so there's no specific date.
Yeah,
Okay. This is, yeah. Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Or
Aye.
any discussion?
No.
Any discussion?
No.
First.
So this is to be able to sell liquor in the Scott Farm store?
correct.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I'm going to abstain.
I will note on this one, I've got it here in front of me, that it requires all our signatures on this, even for those who, you've abstained, but anybody who approved it. So I will sign this up and I'm gonna give it back to Lori, and based on this, you'll need to stop the town office and put your signature on it. It won't accept one.
Yep.
I wonder if they are waiving that during this time of, where the emergency order is still in effect.
I don't know, but it's,
We had to sign it a few weeks ago. Remember? For another license.
another one. I mean, I've usually been signed, but this one actually says how many members present, how many members approve, disapprove. I mean, I can sign it and give it to Lori and
Sure, let's
if
do
that
that.
will, let me, and then I will email you if you guys need to stop in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Great. All right, I'd like to move that we adjourn as the Liquor Control Board and recess as the Select Board.
Second.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, here we are back as the Select Board. Is there any other new business that you'd like to discuss?
The only thing that came up just as I popped off of Prospect Hill is they're going to need another meeting at some point so we can, because there's a new member that came for an interview, and we do have another resignation, so it's up to, we're part of it, so just let you know that it might be up on an upcoming agenda.
Okay, great. Good. Okay, any other new business? All right,
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
great.
Second that.
All right, we're adjourned
Great.
then.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you so much,
Thank you.
everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thanks,
right.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.